Straight ahead on 12 News, a push to silence train noise. How a couple of neighborhoods in Crystal could get a reprieve. Then a sneak peek into the life of a tax preparer on tax deadline day. But first, reaction to a major congressional election announcement.
I think she has a very good profile for that seat and probably has good a chance as any Democrat running.
12 News starts right now. Hello and thanks for joining us. Republican Congressman Eric Paulson will have a challenger in his bid for re-election. And the person running against him is a familiar face to the local political scene. Delane Cleveland joins us now with more. Delane?
Alex, State Senator Terry Bonoff announced over the weekend that she will challenge Eric Paulson for the seat in the 3rd Congressional District. It's not her first time running for Congress.
My 11 years in the legislature, that I have earned a reputation as being somebody who's actually not partisan, who's independently minded and has tremendous relationships across the aisle, both in the House and the Senate. And I thought, I am inspired to bring that brand of governing and that brand of leadership to Washington.
Senator Bonoff last ran for Congress in 2008, but failed to get the Democratic endorsement. Republican Eric Paulson went on to win that seat and has since been reelected 3 times. This time, though, political experts say the prospect of having Donald Trump as the Republican presidential nominee could be used to Bonoff's advantage if she tries to tie Paulson to Trump. But Bonoff still faces an uphill battle.
The re-election rate for members to the House of Representatives is in excess of 95%. He starts with an enormously large war chest and campaign funds compared to what she has. He has, a pretty good name recognition. But having said that, she's got the great name recognition from having been in the Senate for many years, and I think there's a lot of support for her.
Congressman Paulson has about $2.3 million in his fundraising account. Meanwhile, a statement from the Paulson campaign called Bonoff a failed congressional candidate, retread back for another try. Bonoff's record will be a heavy weight around her campaign again. Alex?
All right, thanks, Delane. A Crystal man is accused of pointing a gun at another person in the middle of a Crystal street. According to the criminal complaint, Dantrell Heights was upset at a man who drove multiple times past his house in the 5600 block of Elmhurst Avenue. The complaint says Heights drove his vehicle in the street to block the man's vehicle and then pulled out a handgun. The alleged victim told police he was trying to meet up with his wife to deliver a cell phone charger. Heights is charged with 1 count of terroristic threats. Train noise is a hot topic in Crystal. It has officials thinking about implementing a train horn quiet zone. It would impact railroad crossings at Douglas Drive and West Broadway. Reporter Sonia Goins has more.
They got the cross arms now, the lights flashing, and the bells. Trains going by, you don't hardly notice it until the whistle.
This is what Ron Chase and his family hear, day in and day out.
You can't get used to that loud a noise.
Ron has lived in his Crystal home for more than 50 years.
And we get both times and when they blow. The far one, a block away there, and then right here, and we hear all that noise.
Relief could be on the way for Ron and other residents who live in the area. The city is looking into silencing the train sound.
A quiet zone is a federally designated area where the trains will no longer routinely sound their horns in advance of the road crossing.
The Canadian Pacific trains travel through these intersections about every 15 to 20 minutes. For years, people who live in the Forest and Becker neighborhoods have complained about the train horns.
It gets very annoying at 1 in the morning, 1:15, 2 o'clock, especially in the summer when the windows can be open. Then it really gets loud.
It's really loud. I can hear it from my house, and I bet everybody could hear it from their houses too.
Crystal decided to jump on track with other nearby cities who have similar no train horn policies.
The train engineer always has discretion in any situation to sound a horn if there's an imminent emergency.
If the no quiet zone gets okayed, officials would install safety medians like the ones you see here off of Winnetka Avenue in New Hope. Federal officials say they're more effective at preventing drivers from jumping the tracks.
By putting in the medians, and preventing people from circumventing the crossing gates, you actually increase safety above what you get by the trains blowing their horns.
A train horn quiet zone would be welcome relief for Crystal residents who say they've had enough of the train horns.
Oh, very happy, yes. We've been striving for that for quite a while.
In Crystal, Sonia Goins, 12 News.
To qualify as a quiet zone, the city has to get federal approval. Right now, the city is gathering comments and information from residents to present to the City Council in early June. Tax Day, April 18th, comes 3 days later than usual this year. Thanks to a holiday in Washington, D.C., taxpayers have until midnight tonight, that's Monday night, to file their returns. As Eric Nelson reports, for some people, the extra time is definitely good news.
These are taxing times for Eddie Robinson, literally.
Because the weekend we were kind of swamped. I guess everybody found out about that holiday.
Robinson does tax prep for Liberty Tax in Crystal. And with tax days sliding from April 15th to 18th, Monday was crunch time as he dealt with last-second returns.
Oh, yes. There's going to be quite a few of them coming in.
Some Northwest Metro residents took advantage of the extra time to file, as local post offices had a steady stream of traffic.
I used them, so I guess it helped me. If I didn't have them, I'd have had to have it done 3 days sooner.
Others did not know they had the luxury of filing 3 days later than normal.
I didn't even know about the extension.
Robinson has done tax prep for over 30 years and is happy taxpayers got some bonus time this year.
I'm glad we had this little holiday because it helped the taxpayers out. You know, they put a little extra work on us, but it helped them out because a lot of them, they forgot all about it and they were thinking the 15th.
As for Robinson, when he finally crunches his last set of tax numbers, he's going to get away.
Yes, I take vacation after this.
Where are you going?
I don't know. I'm going somewhere and relax next week.
If you're a tax procrastinator, there is some good news. According to Eddie Robinson, if you can walk inside the doors here at Liberty by 9 p.m. tonight, your returns will get done and be postmarked April 18th. In Crystal, I'm Eric Nelson, Channel 12 News.
The April 15th holiday in Washington is Emancipation Day, which is a tribute to Abraham Lincoln freeing 3,000 slaves in Washington, D.C. Several schools in Brooklyn Park were without power Monday after a car hit a utility pole. It happened shortly after 10 a.m. A spokesman for Xcel Energy says the incident impacted about 2,600 customers in the Brooklyn Park area. 3 schools in the Osseo district were impacted: Northview Middle School, Zanewood, and Fair Oaks Elementary Schools. Power was restored after about an hour at Fair Oaks. It took a few hours to restore power at Zanewood and Northview. Teachers in the Robbinsdale School District got quite a surprise today. The Seven Dreams Foundation surprised Noble Elementary teacher Cindy Levan. They presented Levan and her class a $3,000 check to continue hands-on outdoor science lessons. Levan's students have been enjoying visits by naturalists from the Croning Interpretive Center. This grant will allow those lessons to continue next year.
This is huge, because it gives us that extra time to do our own learning as teachers and really implement outdoor learning into our science standards and curriculum.
The Seven Dreams Foundation also awarded other district teachers to help them continue creative changes in their classrooms. Coming up, French flair parked in Plymouth. We will explain next in Business Matters. And then a little bit later in sports, Wayzata takes on Hopkins in the Lake Conference softball opener. But first, a cooling off period with some much needed rain possible on Tuesday. In downtown Minneapolis, there's no shortage of food trucks. In Plymouth, there is a food truck that is truly one of a kind. In this week's Business Matters, it's the only food truck in Minnesota serving up a particular kind of French fare. Just outside the Lifetime Fitness in Plymouth, there's a culinary work of art underway in a truck. And it's served up with French flair.
This is the specialty in France. We call it the crepe complète.
Meet Florence Amard.
When people come to my food trucks, they can have a real French crepes.
A French transplant who moved to Minnesota 2 years ago from Paris. Florence's food truck, Crepe and Cake, is a business run by a woman who is reinventing herself.
I really enjoy to do it, and I love to share it with customers, especially in Minnesota because people are very kind.
Oh yeah. This is the first time I've seen the food truck, so thought we'd give it a try. It looked fun.
From the sweet crepe,
this one is a dark chocolate strawberry,
to the savory ones.
This one is the crepe madame with the egg, the cheese, and the ham.
Florence is cooking up a French tradition taught to her many years ago in the very region where crepes were born.
I started when I was 5 years old with my grandmother, who is from Brittany. So she knows how to do crepes, and I bake a lot of crepes thanks to her.
Now Florence is sharing what she knows to the delight of those in Plymouth.
It's really a treat. Good. Yeah. We'd come back.
Now back to Florence and how she ended up in Plymouth with a food truck.
This is what I like in America. I'm just living the American dream. That's just wonderful.
When Florence's husband and their family got transferred to Minnesota for a job in Maple Grove, Florence decided she would change careers, leaving the corporate world of healthcare to follow her passion.
Thank you. Merci.
Now she's in the driver's seat with her own one-of-a-kind business.
Yeah, I'm the crepe lady of the community.
In addition to weekday stops in Plymouth, the Crepe and Cake food truck also visits the Maple Grove Farmers Market, and you can go to 12.tv for more information on where to find Florence's truck. Coming up, something people consider scarier than death or taxes. But first, a strong Champlin Park girls lacrosse team breezes to a season-opening win. John Jacobson has the highlights up next in sports.
Lacrosse was the last of the spring high school sports to start practice, and a handful of teams played their first games of the season late last week. Champlin Park's girls were one of them, coming off of back-to-back state tournament appearances. Rebels taking on Coon Rapids in the season opener. Hannah Crimble sets up Sam Nolan. She scores to get an early goal for the Rebels. And Nolan takes it herself, zipping to the net and giving Champlin Park a 6-2 lead. Second half, nice pass on the run by Nolan. Crimble takes it herself for a goal, and it's a 9-4 Rebels lead. Crimble with a quick move to the net, switches hands and scores again here. Champlin Park wins its first game of the season, beating the rival Cardinals 14-8. In a big boys game on Saturday, Wayzata falls just short against defending state champion White Bear Lake in a 9-8 loss. Amar Batra and Brooks Hansen had 3 goals each for Wayzata. Shane Olson scored 4 times for the Bears. Now to softball, where Wayzata started last week with 2 easy non-conference wins before their game against a Hopkins team that was 1-1 coming into both teams' late conference opener. Bottom of the first inning, the Royals' Brenna Falk will draw a bases-loaded walk that scores the second run of the inning, and it's 2-0 Hopkins after 1. Second inning, and the Royals' Mackenzie Merritt with a single to left field. Evelyn Barczyk scores to give Hopkins a 3-0 lead. The Royals scored at least 1 run in each of the first 5 innings. Lexi Shears with a base hit to bring home Parker Stoddard with a run in the 3rd. Then in the 4th inning, it's Merritt with another hit. This time she'll double to the fence out and right. Natalie Den Hartog comes around to score, and it's 5-0 Royals through 4 innings. Wayzata finally gets on the board in the 5th. Katie Walk delivers the 3rd of her 4 hits on the day, getting the ball to the gap in right center. Mackenzie Murray scores on the play, and Walk slides safely into 3rd with a triple. But Hopkins counters with 3 more runs in the bottom of the 5th inning, and Hopkins wins the game 8-2. After a winless 2015 season, the Park Center baseball team won 2 of its first 3 games this spring. They're looking to bounce back against Rogers in Game 4. 3rd inning, 2 outs for the Royals. Ryan Davidson grounds to short. Brendan Baki's throw, though, is wide, and it gives the Royals runners on 2nd and 3rd and keeps their inning alive. After Park Center walks 2, pushing a run across, Brendan Unruh will ground to short. The throw here can't be picked up at first. by Kyle Snowbrook. Davidson scores, and it's 2-0. Next batter, Mitch Spillis singles to right, brings in Tanner Palm, and Rogers have a 3-0 lead after 3. 5th inning, Spillis lines one to right in front of diving Riley Peterson, scoring Palm, and it's 4-0 Royals. Peter Fair singles to center, bringing Unruh home, and that makes it 5-0. Pirates get 1 run late, but it's 5-1 Rogers winning the game. Maple Grove's boys tennis team is off to a strong start this spring, and they're led by one of the state's top singles players, Charlie Atkins. On this week's Sports Jam show on Channel 12, Jay Wilcox introduces to Atkins, and here's a bit of that story.
Maple Grove senior Charlie Atkins has a wide variety of skills.
More of an all-around player. I don't have many glaring weaknesses. I'm strong on both sides and coming to the net. On a good match, I'm definitely coming in more often and playing more offense instead of being too far behind the baseline, being more on the defensive side.
Charlie's a pretty impressive player. He's got almost every shot in the book. He's barely misses the first serve, and he's just consistent all around. Gets his balls deep, and he's always getting volleys, getting to the net, and pretty impressive in general.
We're on the first Sports Jam of the spring season. It's on Monday through Wednesday at 3:30, 6:30, and 9:30 p.m. And that's it for sports today, Alex.
All right. Thanks a lot, John. We'll be right back. And finally, what some people consider even scarier than death or taxes, we are talking about public speaking.
If you could travel anywhere in the world, where would you want to go and why? Janelle?
That question and others were posed to a group of brave souls, men and women, from Toastmasters International. The public speaking club has been around since the 1920s. This weekend at Ridgedale Library, members of a local chapter were put to the test. Judges graded them on prepared speeches as well as impromptu speaking. So what makes public speaking so difficult? Probably those judges.
Well, I think it boils down to a fear of being judged. That, you know, when you talk one-on-one with someone, you only have that person and you're in conversation. But when you're in front of an audience, you're afraid you're going to mess up and have that audience judge you.
Toastmasters not only helps people over that fear, but also helps develop leadership skills. Speakers who graded well over the weekend will compete against other speakers around the state later this month. If they do well there, they will compete against public speakers from 130 countries around the world coming up in August. And that does it for us. Thanks so much for joining us.
We'll see you back here tomorrow starting at 4.